Okay, on this video, I'm gonna go over the construction progress and inspections you're gonna have. I'm gonna provide you some details about what to expect and recommendations of how to handle it with your contractor. To start with, I would say this: if you are in a position where you hired a general contractor or different trades, it's still going to be relevant to you, everything I'm just saying right now. So what you should expect is that during construction, once your plans have been approved and once you've obtained your permit for construction, whether your general contractor pulled the permit or you pulled the permit as an owner builder, you're going to go through different inspections throughout the process. That's going to be inspected by building and safety department. You will not be able to move to the next phase before one phase is completed and signed off by your inspector from building and safety. The inspections are going to be, the major inspections are going to be as follow. Keep in mind, in some cases you might have additional inspections, and in some cases you might even need to be repeating those inspections because from some reason you failed to pass an inspection. You need to do it again before you can move on to the next phase. So major inspections are going to be first foundations and forms of rebars before you pour your concrete. Second thing is your underfloor. If you're building a raised foundation unit, then you're going to have underfloor framing that will also inspect your conduit, drain, vent systems, ductwork, and underfloor insulation if needed. Next inspection is going to be utilities trench lines. You need to run, of course, you need to have a trench line to run your sewer line. In some cases, you're going to run also your power line inside it. Of course, your water line and gas lines. So the inspector is going to check those trenches to make sure that they're to code, deep enough, and that there's enough clearance as needed. Next inspection is going to be your framing of roof, walls, and any additional framing that is being done inside the unit. Next one is going to be your rough electrical systems that will include also your panel. Then rough plumbing systems that will include your vents and shower pans if you're doing showers and not tubs. Next inspection is going to be your mechanical systems for heating and cooling. The following one is going to be insulation of walls and ceilings. Insulation also going to include, by the way, your windows. When you're putting your insulation, the inspector will also inspect that the windows are installed properly to prevent any water penetration. Then you're going to have drywall together with your lath stucco. Lath stucco is basically the first coat to prevent water going through the wall inside. And then your tile backing also. It's if you have tile that is being installed in a shower, then also the backing for it will be inspected for not having water penetration. At that point also, if you're doing shower that is not a shower pan, but you're doing a shower that's going to have a hot mop, so it's going to be inspected to make sure that there's no water penetration. And at that stage, basically, all of your rough inspections are going to be completed. And then you're going to have a clear to go and install all of your finishes, which will include your doors, floors, cabinetries, bathroom fixtures, any decorations, anything of that sort, installing your appliances and so forth. And then at the end of it, you're going to have your final inspection to make sure all the systems are working, everything is functioning properly. It's going to be a thorough inspection just to make sure there's no issues. And at the end of it, you're basically going to get your final sign-off and your certificate of occupancy that will basically complete your construction phase of your project. Okay, before I'm going to go over how you should handle the construction progress with your contractor, I want to say something about the inspections. I usually recommend to homeowners to be present during those inspections. Be present and as an observer. Do not be there to be in the way. Let the contractor, if it's a general contractor, then he should handle all the inspection process with the inspector. You can be there as an observer to listen, see what the inspector says, see if he has any comments, any things he wants your contractor to redo. Hear those. If something really comes up and you have a concern, raise a question. If not, let your contractor handle it from start to finish. And then at the end of it, you can ask questions with it to your contractor. And if there's any issues, you can erase it with your design, build, engineering team, and so forth. If you are an owner builder, you are responsible to be present at those inspections regardless. Meaning, as an owner builder, it means that the permit is under your responsibility. So be there together with your trade contractor. Your trade contractor can lead the inspection together with the inspector, but you are in charge. Now, at every phase, the inspector will sign off the phase and will give the permission to move to the next phase. Okay, that's about those inspections. Now let's talk about how you should handle your overall process during construction together with your contractor. Here's a few things I would highly recommend you to do during the process to make sure things are done properly, and you have first you have some kind of way to make sure things are done properly, and the second thing is you have control on things, and if you have any questions, you can go back and check what was done. First, during construction, keep a detailed record and account for everything that your contract says. So, change orders that you might gonna have, and a copy of the permit card. Meaning, have a folder that's gonna have a copy of the contract, copy of a change order, and a copy of the inspection card. If you during the construction, you and your contractor got to an agreement that there's a change to the contract, meaning something is going to be done differently. Either it's going to increase the cost, change the cost, have no impact on the cost, but it's going to be done differently. Have it in writing, have it signed off, and have it part of the your contract, because it needs to be recorded, and we want to have something to go back to. You want to write down any verbal agreement you're going to have with your contractor. Do not agree on stuff verbally and don't have a documentation for it. If it doesn't have a documentation, if something goes wrong, if there's a dispute, it's not going to help you. Document it in writing, signed by both parties. That's the best way. Take pictures, lots of pictures, videos as well. Meaning, on different phases, go inside, take pictures of how things are done, before, after, during. Ask your contractor if you want to be there, if you want to get them involved during those pictures and videos. Have them be there with you to explain different things while you're taking videos. It's going to help you later on for two things. One, if something goes wrong and you need to repair something or whatever, you're always going to have a record of how things are done. Second thing, if there's a dispute, pictures and videos are going to help you. I know I'm talking a lot about disputes because unfortunately that it happens. This is just the nature of things, and it happens a lot. When you have recorded documents, when you have pictures, when you have videos, usually you're going to be able to resolve it fairly easily and quickly together with your contractor in a conversation or a meeting. And if not, you have records that you can go and track back and make sure things are, either corrected, or if you need to take any legal actions, then you have evidence. Let's put it this way. Warranties. If there's any subcontractors coming to work and that they need to provide warranties, make sure you have a copy of that. If there's any supplies being provided by your contractor that needs to come with warranties, make sure you have a copy of those. Very important. Maintain a folder that is organized for all the receipts of every payment you're making. Any check that you're paying to your contractor, have a copy of it and have it in the folder for the construction. Any payment that you're making needs to be relating to the schedule of values. If you remember, and we talked about it a few times before, there should be a schedule of values that's going to determine how much monies are due for every phase of the project, for every trade. Now, when you're making a payment is being done against something that was completed for that specific trade, and based on how much was completed for that specific trade. For example, if I'm just throwing a number right now, let's say that your foundation portion is valued at $10,000 and your contractor is issuing you an invoice for 50% of the foundation work because he finished excavating and putting the rebars, then he's going to ask for $5,000. Then you're going to write a check that is $5,000 for the foundation, which is equals to 50% of it, and you're going to make a payment to it. when he's finishing pouring his concrete, he may ask for another 50% for pouring the concrete. So you're going to write a check that's going to be equal to the additional 50% for the concrete that was poured for the foundation. Again, every check is being accounted against a value in the contract. So those values needs to be broken down in your contract. Make sure that whatever payment schedule you have, whatever agreement you have, you always have a 10% for the end of the project. What do I mean by that is, if the total project value is $100,000, there's going to be a 10%, $10,000, that's going to be paid at the end. Now, you don't want to have anything less than that. At the end means once your project is completed, certificate of occupancy is obtained, and the punch list, and we'll talk about the punch list in a few seconds, the punch list is completed. Only then you're going to issue the final payment. On every payment you're going to issue, your contractor needs to provide you with a signed lien release of progress payment. Okay, and at the end of this video, I'll record another video that you will see it, and we'll show you this type of form. You're going to have a copy of this form with the package that you downloaded. It's going to call, this one is going to be called waiver and release. One second, it's waiver and release on progress payment. Okay, there's another document which I'll talk in a few seconds. So make sure your contract signs on this document for every payment he receives. This is a document that's going to protect you, and it's going to clearly show that your contractor has paid his dues to his subcontractors, to his suppliers, and no one, he doesn't owe money to no one, and no one can come after you. Okay, so that's the next one. Now, you want to have a checklist when you come to the end of the project, when your project comes to a conclusion. After it can be either very close to final inspection or after final inspection. That's okay. It's a checklist. We call it a punch list of items that needs to be completed. It can be cleanup. It can be touch-up paint. It can be making some corrections and repairs on minor stuff that were damaged along the way. Whatever it is, do a final walk with your contractor to go over things, to create that list and have that list populated, meaning shared between you two, so you guys can have an understanding that once that list is done, that's it, the project is completed, and then you can make the final payment. And again, only after certificate of occupancy has been received. Important, have weekly meetings with your contractors. Every week, have a weekly meeting on updates on the progress of your project. You want to know what was done this week, what is being expected to be done next week, if there's any delays expected based on what was completed and what is expected to be completed, and if there are delays, what are those delays. Okay, in some cases you might want to have your design team involved in those meetings, if you want to have them look at things and give you some advice. If you have any conflict with your contractor and you need that team to be there together with you in those meetings so they can advise you if things are done properly or not, I highly recommend to have your design team to be there at least 1 to 2 times, if not even more. Depends how you would feel about it and what is your agreement with them. But have them be there at least 1 to 2 times to see how things are done, so they can advise you and they can give you the right information. Final payment. When you're making final payment, this is the last thing about this subject. When you're making the final payment, there's another document that your contractor needs to sign. It's very much similar to that progress payment that I talked about before. And on that final payment, just a bit different. It just says that that's it. There's no more money dues, that you paid everything. That's basically it. I'm going to right now turn my camera and I'm going to share my screen with you about those 2 documents, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so let's go over those 2 documents. The first one, and again, it should be with your package, is called waiver and release on progress payment. This is It's the title over here. It's unconditional waiver and release on progress payment. Do not sign a document, by the way, that says conditional. You want to sign unconditional. Okay, unconditional, meaning there's no conditions to it. On this one, you need to you need to fill out this name of the claimant, meaning it's the name of the contractor. Okay, name of the customer, that's your name. Job location is your address. The owner is, again, you, unless there's a different owner to the property. And through date is the date that the check is being issued. Okay, over here you're going to write the amount of the check that is being issued. Okay, if there's any exception, it's going to say it over here, by the way, if there's retentions and so forth. And then over here it's going to say claimant signature. This is where your contractor is going to sign. This is the claimant's title, meaning this is the name of his company, and the date of signature. I would suggest with every check that you are preparing for your contractor, have this document ready, print it, and then have your contractor to sign over here. And that's it. You don't need to do nothing. You don't need to wait for a document from him or anything of that sort. So anytime you're issuing a check, you're going to have this document together with you. Important to understand, your contractor needs to provide you this document regardless, but a lot of contractors will not do that, so make sure that you are doing it yourself. Okay? Again, this is for progress payment as you go. Now, once the final payment is done, you're going to have this document. Okay? Let me make it smaller a little bit. 1 second. There we go. So, this is called waiver on the document that you received, waiver and release on final payment, and over here it's going to say unconditional waiver and release on final payment. Okay, same title, just instead of progress it says final. Okay, same thing over here. Okay, name of claimant, name of the contractor, name of customer, your name, job location, the address of the project, owner if it's your name or if it's a different owner. Okay, this is, if there's any exceptions, you're going to say it over here. Okay, what is the amount that you're going to issue on that final payment, and then again signature. This is where your contractor needs to sign. Company name over here, and or his name, better if you're going to have both of them, and the date of signature. Have this document ready together with a final check, and have your contractor sign on it before you handing over the final check. Okay, those two documents will protect any payments you are making. Okay, now that you have all the information and my recommendation and the tools of how to make sure that your construction progress is working as flawless as possible, I want to make a few notes here. One, you're going to have challenges, and that's okay. That's just the nature of those kind of projects. Do not expect everything to go smooth. You're going to have challenges with your contractor. That's okay. You're going to have challenges with your inspector. That's okay. You're going to have challenges with yourself and with your spouse or whoever it is that you're working with. That's just the nature of those projects. What I recommend is to follow those steps I'm recommending here. What I'm also recommending is, if you have a design team that you've used to get your plans and engineering in place and designs in place, have them available there for you for consultation when you need. It's going to make a whole big difference if you can have them advise you and help you when needed. In some companies will be able to provide this as part of their services at additional cost. Some will do it in percentage based on the project size. Some will charge based on meetings and so forth. Ask your team what it's going to cost to give you that support when you need it, because you will need that support, especially if it's going to be your first time. You know what, even if it's not going to be your first time, you will need that support, because there's going to be some things that you're going to need someone to hold your hand, advise you, give you the right direction to make sure things are done properly. That's basically it. I mean, if you watched all the videos so far, I'm sure that you got a lot of tools and information on how to manage your development. I'm sure you're going to have more questions. So what I would recommend is always to go back and check meaning watch those videos again. It's gonna help you to absorb more information. Go back to the book, read the book again, and if you have more questions, if there's anything else I can help with, I'll be happy to answer any questions. You can call me or email me, and my information is going to be on the website. But just in case, my cell phone is 310-709-0088. My direct email is levi@leviconstruction.com. Again, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help you and advise on anything possible. Good luck with your project. Have a successful journey and enjoy your development.